Hello my friends, how you doing? This is Dan McDonald, the LifeRegenerator on YouTube. Thank you for joining me today. This is a very special opportunity for me, and it's a very special opportunity for you because I have a very special person, a great friend, Lou Corona, and he's really inspired me in the last several months of my life. And I just want you guys to get to know him, so we're going to do a little introduction video, spend a little bit of time here so you can get a little background on Lou. So Lou, let me tell you, because I never told you this, but you met Dave the Raw Food Trucker at Olac. And then he came back to hang out with me up in Washington. And the minute he said, I met this guy Lou Corona, right out of the sky, and this bomb dropped on my head that just was like, and I knew that I had to meet you. And I never told you that before. But then as I was passing through LA, I guess I heard something about you were going to be speaking, and I just went out there and saw you. And it was like I already knew you, you know? Like it was already a full-on, like we were supposed to meet. And so Lou's getting this for the first time too. And it was just this really powerful download out of the universe, kind of like the presence that you felt that day when you were dying 37 years ago with a brain tumor, asthma, and geez, a whole host of other issues, which a lot of my friends out here are dealing with. Some of them just want to get better health. So I just wanted you to share a little bit about how you came to, how you came from a place of almost dying 37 years ago, 1 year before I was even born, and you're now 58 years old, and your life has been powerful and incredible and a blessing to many others since then. So thank you for letting me share that, you guys. And Lou, can you tell us just a little bit more about the day that your life turned around?
Sure. Well, reflecting back in that moment, right before that, some of you may or may not know, I was in the Air Force at the time, and as I went in the Air Force, I went through boot camp with flying colors. I did really great in boot camp. I got to a point where I could do like 90 pull-ups even before I went in the Air Force, because I was taught and trained by an ex-Green Beret in high school. So he really worked me hard, you know. And so I was in pretty good condition. I could do 4 minutes underwater. I could run a mile in 4.5 minutes and climb a 20-foot rope in 6 seconds. And I did 200 push-ups every day. And so I was in pretty good
physical health.
I was in physical shape. You know, I thought I was healthy. I wasn't as healthy as I thought. I was actually strong. I got strong just because I worked out. But after boot camp, my body started breaking down, and I started developing digestive issues, where instead of going to the bathroom a couple times a day, I started going to the bathroom every other day, every 3 days, once a week, once every 2 weeks, and then once every 3 weeks. And when I was going to the bathroom once every 3 weeks, I wake up at night with some pain down here and cramping out, and it's just really painful, and it got pretty miserable. But in the process, as I was becoming more toxic, all of a sudden, you know, I started developing acne all over my face, allergies, and acne is a form of infection. And later on I found out. And then allergies is a form of undigested food particles that turn into allergens, that turn into toxins, and then your body tries to throw it off through hives and sneezing and watery eyes, and you swell up. All kinds of things like that happen, and that was happening to me. And then after that, I developed this big tumor behind my head. This is besides a rash on my body. And this big tumor developed behind my head. I had this big tumor, and the doctors told me it was a tumor, and they need to remove it and all that kind of thing. And then after that, not too long after that, I ended up with chronic asthma. Taking all this medication. I had to take intravenous and oral medication just to breathe. Where before I could do 4 minutes underwater. So it was pretty...
This was on the military diet.
On the military diet, of course.
Anybody that knows.
Yeah. Well, I came from a very conventional lifestyle, and I ate the Air Force food that they feed you there, like anybody else.
Everything just caught up to you, the diet.
It caught up with me, and I didn't smoke, drink, or take drugs, and I did wonder why I was suffering so badly. And then before I knew it, I ended up with arthritis on top of that. And I was only 21 years of age. This is 1973. And I was suffering with all these things, wondering why, what's going on with me. And I thought, what have I done to deserve this kind of pain, this kind of suffering? Because in my mind, I was thinking that I'm eating 3 meals a day, I work out at the Air Force, I serve my country, I'm a good person, and I couldn't understand why I was so sick. And then, I don't tell this to most people, but there was some times that I actually had some contest, who could eat the most at the chow hall after boot camp, and I used to win contests who could eat the most food, and of course the food is not the easiest food to digest, right? And I started getting constipated, and I started getting backed up, and I think that was kind of like the downfall of and the cause of a lot of my problems.
The eating contest.
The eating contest, the over excessive amounts. I don't usually talk about this in talks that I've done over the years, but I think that it's something I need to share, because overindulgence and overeating is not a good idea. Plus, I used to inhale my food. If any of you out there are inhaling your food and just eat and just chew and swallow, not a good idea. It's one of the worst things you can do for your digestion.
What should we do?
Exactly. We'll start chewing, slow down, and start being thankful, and just meditate and chew your food really well and chill out. Enjoy the food and chew it well.
Yeah, eat like a prayer, huh? How about that?
Eat like a prayer.
Eat like it's a prayer, like it says in the Gospel of Peace.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I learned to chill out, slow down, and meditate, and be thankful, and just chew my food and really break it down. Because that's the start of digestion. Anyway, I had such poor digestion and poor elimination and all that I of course I didn't understand all these things back then, but the thing of it is, as I was suffering and had all these diseases, one day I realized we were all created and destined with an intention for us to be healthy, vibrant, have abundance of energy, feel great, be happy, fulfilled, prosper, multiply, the whole shebang. I realized that. And I realized it wasn't happening to me, so that's when I surrendered, and I just asked. Because I asked all the doctors and nurses and hospitals and clinics that I called, asking them what was causing all my diseases. I was suffering so bad before I went down, and I was asking, like, what is happening to me? Why is it happening? Because I wanted to stop doing the things that caused it. So anyway, nobody seemed to have an understanding of what was causing my diseases. So what happened is, I was in line in the hospital waiting for medication. And in that moment, all of a sudden, I had this profound experience where I had this realization that the way we were intended to live and be and have a good quality of life and so on. And all of a sudden, I put my hands together and I just prayed and I just asked that I would be given the knowledge of what is it that's causing diseases, in my case, and what is it that are solutions, what I can do about them. So I had the opportunity to get well. Do these things and get well, and because I figured if I could stop doing the things that was causing my diseases, and if I had solutions, what I could do about them, I would have a chance to rectify and overcome these conditions that I was suffering with. And then also asked, how am I meant to live? How we as people meant to live? Because I had a sense that if I could understand how to live in such a way where I could be healthy, be well, and have a good life, a long quality life at that, and feel great, and never get sick again. I wanted to know how to live. I wanted to know how to live like that. But I didn't know what that was. And I didn't know how to do that. I had no idea. But I knew that whatever I was doing wasn't working. Well, however I lived in the past wasn't the way, because it wasn't working. And so I left myself open to that. And all of a sudden, I felt somebody walk up to the side of my body, and I looked to see who it was, and there was no one there. But I felt someone there. And I don't know if anybody's ever, out there that's listened to this, ever experienced anything like that, but I did. And then I wondered, like, okay, what does it mean? What am I going to do with it? I just felt the presence, And all of a sudden, I'm told, walk away and I'll teach you. And I picked up on it, and I left the hospital. And I knew I was never coming back. And I took a leap of faith. I trusted in that. And I can say one thing: if you are ever instructed inside, and you hear the voice or you pick up on it, and you know it's not you, and you're being guided, you're being directed, I would say listen and be obedient to it, because I did. I walked out of there. That night I went to sleep, and I woke up later on with an asthma attack. I was suffocating really badly, and because I had chronic asthma, that's one of the things I had suffered with. As I was suffocating, I knew that was it for me. I knew I was either going to make it or break it, but I knew no matter what happened, I knew I was going to be okay. And I had that faith. I still do. And so anyway, I surrendered once again, and I just said, either you take me or you show me. And I was given a reflection of my past events of my whole life. And I remember one of the moments where when I was a little boy, I said that I wanted to die. And I saw that, and I go, wow.
This is what I want to make sure everybody hears this, because I think this is one of the most important things that you share. So I just want to make sure everyone's listening, because this is what was very profound for me, and it should be for you. So sorry to interrupt, Lou.
It's all right. Well, see, in my early years of my life, I was heavily abused and beaten, and I had a lot of stuff happening at school that my parents never knew about, and I had a lot of stuff going on at home too, behind the scenes that were hurting me, you know, and so I was so miserable that I just wanted to die, and I actually, you know, said it. I want to die.
Inside.
I said it inside. I wanted to die. I don't even want to live. It's not even worth living. It was so profound like that, and I all of a sudden I realized I was the one. See, I was wondering why I was suffering with all these diseases, and all of a sudden when I saw.
Yeah, so that's the one thing I wanted to make sure everybody got, was that it was actually, aside from the food, which is very powerful, raw food for living organisms, that's fairly common sense really, but it was a decision to live. Mm-hmm. And that was a huge shift.
Huge. Well, once I recognized that I was the one that caused my pain and suffering, and I was like dying, and I realized that, I just thought, wow. So I knew I had a new decision to make. I just had that sense that I don't have to have that. I don't need to stay inside that way of being anymore. That I had the opportunity to decide to change my mind and live if I wanted to. And that's when I said, well, now that I changed my mind, I want to live. You know. That's fine. If you want to take me, I'll serve you in spirit. It's like I totally surrender and put my life in His hands, kind of thing. But then at the same time, I let it be known that I really want to live, but I want to be shown the way, how to live. So I wanted to be taught, and that's when I was really open, receptive, and willing to do whatever it took, and so just show me the way, kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, that's when I saw this light, and that's when I saw a presence by my bed, and I was given these teachings. And I was taken into a really deep sleep, and I rested really well, no more fear, nothing. And I woke up the next day. I woke up more thankful, more excited than ever before in my life. Before I woke up in the morning, I gotta get up, go to school, gotta go to work or whatever, you know. And I had this attitude like I didn't even want to live. I didn't want to get up. I just wanted to stay in bed and die. You know, I didn't care, you know. But that other moment, that from the near-death experience, from that moment on, when I woke up, it was like, whoa, I get to have another day.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You know,
Can't get thankful with God. Makes you bust up. I always avoid that.
I was so thankful I could hardly stand it. Just like this moment right now. That's how thankful it was. And inside that surrendering and just being so grateful, I said, you know, all these things you showed me last night, I don't even understand them. Connect me with somebody that can mentor me and show me how to do these things, because I don't even know how to do it. I let it go at that, and right after that I met this man. This man, I thought he was in his 30s when I met him, and he was in his 50s. And he had traveled the world for 30 years studying every religion there's to know, studying the secrets to longevity and the keys to truth and, you know, life and everything else. And I mean, he was so well studied and self-learned, you know, and traveled everywhere and studied under people living 120 years plus in different parts of the world, reviewing them, studying them, observing them, and being with them, you know. So he learned a lot. And by the time I met him, he had this. He took me out into his property. He lived I was stationed at Northern California, and he lived way out in the country off this base where I was stationed up there, Travis Air Force Base. And he had this beautiful land, a big piece of land with orchard and garden and beautiful home that he built, and his wife and 2 little girls. I became part of the family. He taught me, he mentored me.
That's where you regained your health.
That's where I learned how to implement these 4 principles. And that's when I, within 6 months of being there and eating the herbs and fasting and doing colonics and all this, working the meridians and the pressure points and trigger points and all these different things he did, I learned a great deal while I was that.
Would you be willing to share those 4 principles with us on YouTube today?
Sure.
Okay, so cool.
Sure, but the thing is, within 6 months, the tumor dissolved, and the acne, the asthma, the arthritis, and the constipation, the rash, all that went away in those 6 months, never came back. And that was 37 years ago.
And so when you did, it was, just to sum up, because we got to wrap up this part of the interview, that a lot of that was raw foods, obviously.
Well, that was the 4th principle. You know, how to feed the body on a level where your body can actually digest it, absorb it, utilize it, convert it into energy, muscle, hair, skin, bones, eliminate, run clean and efficient, you know. And so that's the 4th principle.
Okay.
But the first one's the most important one.
Okay.
You know, and then the 2nd and 3rd one. So we can talk about those.
We'll go into that. We'll do some more of that. We'll do a couple recipe videos. We're gonna do this Lou Corona series here. 37-year raw foodist. That's a.
I don't claim myself to be a raw foodist per
Well,
se, but I've been living on raw living foods and cultured foods and what have you for 37 years. And I mean, if I was going to classify myself as anything, no different than you and I and all of us, we're all spiritual, electrical, unlimited beings. That's who we really are, you know. And if I was going to say anything about myself, like who am I? If other than that, I would say I'm a seeker of truth. And so I asked for the truth, I was given the truth, and I'm doing my best to live by it. And I'm doing my best to disseminate it and share the teachings, the truth of how life works, so that we all can free ourselves from sicknesses and diseases and live a good life, a powerful life at that, a long quality life, and never get sick or have diseases again. What would that be like?
Amen.
Live a peaceful, harmonious, healthy, vibrant life with abundance of energy and vitality and strength to boot.
That's why I'm here. That's why we're friends.
All right, brother.
Word. So thanks a lot, you guys, for joining me on this introduction. We're going to go upstairs and we're going to go over the 4 principles, which I think are incredible. They're going to help to illuminate you. And I get some more of this good stuff from Lou so that I can pound it in a little bit deeper into my deepest part. And we'll make some great recipes. And I think you're going to get really excited about that. I know you guys get excited about that because the living cultured foods has really been a benefit to me, huge. I put on some weight. I feel energetic and powerful when I'm in the gym because I'm finally finding a way to get the essential amino acids and the fatty acids, but so that it doesn't clog me up, because you guys know that there was a time when I was eating too many nuts, but what I didn't realize is that I wasn't soaking them, and now Lou's brought it to the next level for me, which is the culturization, which has been a huge boon to my health. And so that's one of the reasons why I think that's going to be a huge shift for the raw foodists, if I can call it that. That's what we'll call it. But for the people that want to be strong and powerful while eating raw foods. So thanks a lot, Lou. We really appreciate this. And let's go upstairs and let's learn some more about the 4 principles. Okay. Peace be with you. Thank you.